So I think we'll go ahead and get started. It won't be too hard to catch up for people that are hopping on. But if you're just getting here, my name is Samantha McGuigan. I am a Girl Program Specialist with Girl Scouts Western PA. And today we will be doing Fall Fun for our virtual patch programming. Hi everybody. Thank you again so much for joining me. I'm super excited for today's patch program, which is Fall Fun. Especially excited because fall is my favorite season. I love Halloween time. I love anything to do with fall, pumpkin, the pumpkin patch. So I'm super excited for today's live. And at the end, you'll earn your Fall Fun or Fall Festivities patch. And as always, we're going to be doing three things. We will discover, connect, and take action. For our discover, we will all be becoming a fall fanatic. So we're going to learn some fun facts about fall, including why the leaves change in the fall and why it's called fall. You could probably guess that one as to why it's called fall. For our connect, we're going to try some fun fall activities. So we'll be doing some leaf prints, if you've never done them before. They are super cool, and you can make lots of crafts out of them. We will be making a fall wreath, which I've never done before, but I've always wanted to do. I'm so excited for that one. And then for our take action, we're going to be doing a fun fall activity to help others. So for us, we're going to be making some pumpkin fall dip that you can share with friends and family. Or you can teach them how to make it so that they can make it on their own as well. It would be a fun family activity to do together. Okay, so that will be our Discover, Connect, Take Action. So let's get started with our Discover. Some fun facts. The first one is, why is the season called fall? I'd love to know in the comments if you know why it's called fall. It's kind of self-explanatory, but there is a little bit of history behind it. And there's also a little bit of a difference. I'm sure you've probably heard fall also called autumn. So a little bit about the difference between fall and autumn. And this comes from Merriam-Webster.com, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. So it says, autumn and fall are used interchangeably as words for the season between summer and winter. Both are used in American and British English, but fall occurs more often in American English. Autumn is considered the more formal name for the season. The older of the two words is autumn, which first came into English in the 1300s from the Latin word autumnus. It has extensive use right from its first appearance in English writing, and with good reason. The common name for this intermediary season, prior to the arrival of autumn, was harvest. So before it was called autumn or fall, it was called harvest. Which was potentially confusing because harvest can refer to both the time when harvesting crops happen. So autumn was called harvest, but it could also refer to as the actual harvesting of crops, which became a little confusing. So the word autumn became a big hit, as opposed to calling it harvest, which was kind of confusing because it also means to harvest crops. Names for the season didn't just end with autumn, however. Poets continued to be wowed by the changes autumn brought, and in time, the phrase, the fall of the leaves, came to be associated with the season. This was shortened in the 1600s to fall. So, yeah, a lot of people I see guessed correctly. It's called fall because the leaves fall off the trees. But a little bit of more in-depth reasoning as to why we still call it that, which is super cool. And actually people across the pond in England mostly call it autumn still, which is very interesting. Okay, so let's bring up some more fun facts. When does fall season begin and end? So I'd love to know in the comments if you know when fall officially starts this year. Because it's not, I always thought it started on the same day every year, but it actually doesn't, which is something that I learned. Some more people saying that it's called fall because the leaves change color in fall. Yes, that is correct. Kind of self-explanatory, but nice to know a little bit more reasoning behind it. Any idea when fall starts this year? See, someone says September 21st. That's what would have been my guess, September 21st, which I always thought it started on September 1st, but apparently it doesn't. So it's not September 21st. Any other guesses? You're very close. I'll give you that. Okay. Well, while you guys are putting your guesses in, oh, I see somebody just put in the right one, which is September 22nd, which I didn't know. My guess would have been September 21st also. According to the Farmer's Almanac, fall arrives on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020, and it also has a very specific time at 9:31 a.m. Eastern Time is when fall officially arrives. And it ends December 21st, which also would have been my guess. But this year does start the 22nd, and I've heard that it has started as early as September 17th. And here's a little bit about why that is. In mid-September each year, we greet the fall season with the arrival of the fall equinox, otherwise known as the autumnal equinox. This is the moment when the sun crosses the equator, and those of us living in the northern hemisphere will begin to see more darkness than daylight. So that day, the equinox, happens on a different day every year. This is when we will turn the clocks back an hour, which won't happen until November 1st, I believe. So at the autumnal equinox, day and night are approximately equal in length. The name equinox comes from the Latin word equus, meaning equal, and nox, meaning night. So that's where they get the word equinox. So the equinox falls on a different day each year, and this year it happens to fall on the 22nd. Very interesting. I always just thought it was always the 21st. Okay, some more. A lot of people were guessing the 21st. We got a lot of people said the 22nd. You guys are so smart. I'm always surprised at how smart everybody is. Okay, some other fun facts about fall, and some of these are a little silly, but there's one that I think all Girl Scouts should probably know. Let me know in the comments. Whose birthday, she's very important to Girl Scouts, whose birthday comes in the fall, and what day is it? Yes, November 1st will turn the clocks back. I do believe that also has something to do with the equinox, but I'm not entirely sure. If someone knows the reasoning as to why we turn the clocks back in the fall, I'd love to know. So whose birthday, somebody that's very important to Girl Scouts, whose birthday is in the fall, and what day is it? Yep, somebody already guessed it. You guys are so smart. Yes, it is Juliette Gordon-Low. Can we tell me who she is, why she's so important to Girl Scouts, and what date her birthday actually falls on? You guys are correct. It is Juliette Gordon-Low. Yep, October 31st, 10/31. Yes, Juliette Gordon-Low's birthday falls in the fall on October 31st. Someone is saying that they turned the clocks back. It had to do with the harvest. Farmers needed extra daylight. Interesting. Not sure the date. It is October 31st. Yes, she is the founder of Girl Scouts. Correct. You guys know so much. Yes, so on October 31st in the fall is Juliette Gordon-Low's birthday, and she's super important because she founded Girl Scouts. So a fun little tidbit about her. Awesome. Everybody's saying yes, she started Girl Scouts. Okay, so some more fun and a little bit silly facts. And this comes from the Reader's Digest website. We're having a little trouble. Someone says they can't see me. I think we're okay. I think we're back to being okay. Oh, some people said they went to her home. I would love to go visit there, down in Georgia, right? Awesome. Okay, back to our fall fun facts. I'm getting sidetracked here. So this comes from Reader's Digest, and this one I found super funny. But scientists believe squirrels actually get smarter in the fall. So during the gray squirrels' fall stockpiling season, when they bury nuts and seeds in hundreds of scattered stashes to serve as emergency winter food supplies, a typical squirrel shows a 15% increase in the size of its hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that helps with memory and emotion. So their hippocampus is 15% larger in the fall compared to the rest of the year. So technically, squirrels are smarter in the fall. Kind of silly, but I thought that was really interesting. I wish I got smarter during certain times of the year sometimes. Okay, our next fun fact. Why do leaves change color? Actually, before I tell you, I'd love to know if you're a big science fan, if you know why the leaves change color in the fall. Can anybody tell me? Which I knew a little bit about before I researched this, but this goes into a lot more detail. There's a certain chemical involved with the changing of the leaves. Does anybody know what that is? Some people are saying they know. What is the name of that chemical? Yes, correct, less sunlight. Yep, they do change color because there's less light. We have a lot less light during the day in the fall than we do in the summer. The weather, yep. Oh, somebody guessed the chemical. It is called chlorophyll, which makes the leaves turn green. And there's less of that in the fall, which is why they change color. You guys are too smart for me. So let me bring up this explanation about why they change color, because it goes into a lot more detail than I know about. So why do leaves change color? The red, orange, and yellow pigments in the fall foliage are actually there all year, just under the surface. I did not know that. Very interesting. Sunlight helps fuel plants' cells containing a chemical called chlorophyll, which gives leaves its vivid green color while working to turn light into energy. When sunlight diminishes in fall, chlorophyll breaks down, letting the plant's hidden red, yellow, and orange hues shine. How do Christmas trees stay green in the coldest, darkest months? That's thanks to their needles. Coniferous needles are compact, watertight, and generally harder for weather and insects to destroy. By slowing everything down, pine trees can photosynthesize year-round, keeping the chlorophyll at work and keeping the needles permanently green. So two things I didn't know. I never knew why certain trees, like Christmas trees, keep their green color. And I didn't know that leaves were actually red, orange, and yellow underneath, and the chlorophyll makes them green. So when the chlorophyll breaks down, those colors start to come through. Very interesting. And a lot of people knew that it was because chlorophyll. There's less chlorophyll in the leaves, which causes them to turn colors. And I just love the fall. The fall foliage, so pretty. Okay. So those are some of our fun facts about fall. But if you know any more, I'd love to know them in the comments. If I see any, I'll be sure to read them out loud. So feel free to type those in the comments as we go along. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our next portion, which is our Connect, which is to try some fun fall activities. We're going to be doing some leaf prints and a wreath. So let's get started with our leaf prints. For this, you'll need some leaves, just one works. I have this one from the tree in my backyard and one from an indoor houseplant. You'll need some paper. I just have regular white printer paper here. And some crayons or like pastels. I have these pastel colors. They're pretty much like crayons, but I never get to use them for anything. So I'm going to use them today. They come in these fun colors. So pastels or crayons will work fine. Leaves and a piece of paper, and that's all you're going to need. So I'm just going to take my white printer paper. And I think I'm going to pick some fun fall colors. I have a red in here, and an orange and a yellow. So I'm going to use those. So we're just going to do the prints today, but I encourage you to make other crafts out of our prints because I think they would be really fun to make like a fall greeting card or a fall decoration would be super fun. So you'll need a hard surface underneath. And you're just going to put your leaf underneath your piece of paper. Do it this way. Make sure it's nice and flat underneath. Just make sure it's nice and flat. Press it down a little bit. Make sure it's fully under your paper. And if you want, you could even tape the corners down so it doesn't move too much, but that's not necessary. So I'm going to take either my pastel or my crayon. And it works best if you can put it like on its side. So not just using the point, but making it sideways. And you're going to press down, not too hard. You don't want to rip the paper, but put a little pressure behind it. And just start coloring like this over the leaf. And you should start to see some of the stems coming through. Just putting some nice firm pressure on it, but again, not so hard that I'm going to rip my paper. And you should start to see sort of a print of your leaf come through. And the more you go over it, the darker it'll get. You want to try to go over your whole leaf. Don't leave any parts out. Okay, so after going over it, you should come out with a print of your leaf. It looks a little something like this, and you can see all the stem lines underneath. You could even go over it with a marker, more crayons to make it a little darker, but it comes out pretty good. I'm going to try it with my other leaf. I think it would be fun to do this with all kinds of different leaves that you find outside, or if you have houseplants inside. And you can make all different kinds of shapes just by going over it with a crayon. And it would make some nice fall decor. Okay, point you down again. So I think for this one I'm going to take my yellow, push down so it's nice and flat, and go over it. Oh, this yellow is pretty. Very cool. Let me show you this one. You can see the print of the leaf underneath. I think it would also be fun to learn what all different leaves you have in your neighborhood, and you could write the names underneath. So I think this one is a maple. I'm not sure what the other one is, but I think that could make really fun fall decor to put on your wall or your fridge, or even make a nice fall greeting card out of. Lots of different options you can use this for, but a cool, simple fall craft that you can do with the leaves that have fallen off the trees. Super fun, really simple. Next, we're going to move on to something a little more difficult, and that is our fall wreath, which I'm so excited for, probably a little too excited for, because I've always wanted to make a wreath. And this one is super easy. We're using all kind of at-home supplies, and you can make it anything you want. So be super creative. Oh, somebody said they did their leaf print in multicolor. I love that. Oh, someone says they like my nail color. Thank you. Okay, I just want to check the comments real quick, make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, so we're going to move on to our wreath. So all you'll need is a paper plate, and we're going to cut the middle out to make our wreath shape. You'll need some scissors to do that. We'll need ribbon or string to hang your wreath. I do have ribbon around here somewhere. Any sort of ribbon will work. And then glue or tape. I'm using hot glue. You can use any sort of glue, whatever will help stick your supplies to your wreath. I'm using hot glue. You can use regular glue. If you are using hot glue, make sure you have a parent's help and a parent's permission so you don't burn yourself. Or you could use tape as well. And then some fall leaves. So these could be leaves that you collected outside. Right now, we don't have too many that have fallen off quite yet. So you might have, if you want to make your wreath with real leaves, you might have to wait a little bit longer. But I have these fun faux fall leaves that I used before to make a little decoration. But I'm going to repurpose them again into a wreath. And I have some fun little, found some little pine cones outside. They're little tiny ones. They got off the tree in my backyard that had fallen off. So I'm going to use those. So a little bit of a mixture between real and faux. And then I found these cute little pumpkins in my fall decorations supply. So I'm going to use these too. But feel free to use any supplies you would like if you want to draw and cut out your own leaves, if you just want to draw around your paper plate, different fall colors. Be super creative. Use any fall decor that you happen to have. It's really all up to you, however you would like to do it. Or even outside supplies, so leaves that have fallen off the trees, pine cones, twigs, anything like that will work too. Okay. So first we're going to take our paper plate and we're going to want to cut this center out. So to do that, and if you're using scissors, you might need a parent's help. But you're going to fold it and sort of cut along the fold. Just a little cut so you have somewhere to start. You see I made a little cut in the center. And then I'm going to stick my scissors through there and start cutting around the outside. So there's an inner circle on my paper plate, and I'm going to cut just around that. Cut out the center. Again, you might need a parent's help. I'm sure that's not a fun sound in my microphone. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be putting lots of fall decor around it. There we go. So I'm going to do one more pass around just to clean up my edges a little bit, but that's the start of my wreath. Try to get as smooth of an edge as I can, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And while we're working, I'd love to know what everybody's favorite thing about fall is. One of my favorite things is going to the pumpkin patch a little bit before Halloween, picking out a pumpkin that we're going to carve later, picking out some gourds to decorate with, getting some hot apple cider. One of my very favorite things about fall. I'd love to know what you guys love about fall, and if it's your favorite season like mine. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I just created a wreath shape by cutting out the center of my paper plate. And now I'm just going to have some fun decorating the outside of it. Let's see if I can push it back a little bit here. There we go. And I would love to know, again, in the comments, some of your favorite things about fall. Jumping in the leaves, yes, such a fun one. The leaves changing colors, absolutely. So beautiful. And it's nice here in Pennsylvania because we have so many trees that it's really kind of spectacular when all the leaves change colors. Just put a little dab of glue. Start putting my leaves on. In the example that I saw, they did their leaves kind of sideways and put them all the same way around. So I think that would be a nice way to do it. There's lots of these big fall leaves that I'm repurposing. And I don't think I'm going to put it any sort of color pattern. I'm just going to do it at random, exactly how the leaves are. Someone says they like that it's cooler out. Yes, I'm definitely, by the time fall comes around, I'm definitely ready for it to cool off. Pumpkins, everything, yes. Seeing the leaves change in hay rides. Pumpkin picking and Halloween. I love putting up Halloween decorations. I agree. My family are big Halloween fans, so we always go all out for Halloween. Do lots of decorations inside and outside. We're also big Harry Potter fans, so we like to include Harry Potter in our decorations. That could be a fun wreath to make, a Harry Potter themed wreath. You guys see, that's what I got so far. Hot apple cider. I love apple cider. I don't know why it has to be a fall thing. I feel like hot apple cider should be a year-round thing. Although a lot of people drink it in the winter. Someone says, I love seeing the PA Canyon when the leaves change. Yeah, PA definitely has some spectacular leaf changes. Leaf changes? Halloween. I love getting dressed up for Halloween. What else do you get to get dressed up? At least as an adult. Halloween, yes. Definitely a fall favorite. Do you guys have a favorite costume that you've had? Or favorite candy? I'd love to know that in the comments too. Like I said, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so I tend to go as Harry Potter, Hermione a lot of years. Someone's asking if my water bottle is a Hydro Flask. It is. I talk so much during this that I need some water. Someone says, do I put it sideways? You can put your leaves sideways. That's what the example I saw looked like. But you can put it any direction that you want. Be creative wherever your heart takes you. I think sideways is helpful because it takes up a good amount of space. So it's not going to take me a whole lot of time to fill it up. So I think doing it sideways is helpful for that. So many fun leaves on here. Someone says they went as Little Bo Peep. Renaissance Fair, they went as a princess. Classic. What other costumes do we got? Someone says they love gummy worms. Good one. Ooh, Wednesday Addams. I've seen a lot of people go as Wednesday Addams. She's a fun character. I've actually seen, if you haven't seen it, they have an Addams Family musical that I really like. I've never seen the movie. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but I have seen the musical, so I do know who Wednesday Addams is. If you've never seen the musical, I highly recommend it. Alright. I don't want to take too much longer here because we still have our pumpkin dip that we're making to help others celebrate fall. Okay, so now I have all my leaves glued around. I do have some like white open spots in between. So I could use markers, maybe color that in a little bit. But I do, like I said, I have these cute little pine cones. So I'm going to put some of those in there. Do I lay the leaves on top of each other? Yes, I overlapped mine a little bit. So there wasn't too much white space in between. But feel free to make it however you like, whatever you think looks nice. It doesn't have to be symmetrical, it doesn't have to be perfect, whatever you like. Someone says they've seen both the movie and the musical of the Addams Family. Nice. I definitely have to watch the movie this year during Halloween time. Do you guys have any favorite fall-themed movies or Halloween movies? I definitely have to go with Harry Potter. I just feel like Harry Potter is perfect for the fall season. I don't know why. You can, someone's asking if they lay the leaves on top of each other. If you'd like, I think that looks nice to lay the leaves on top of each other. You don't have as much blank space in between. They can overlap a little bit. Oh, somebody says Hocus Pocus. That is a classic Halloween movie. I love that one. So I'm just putting some little pine cones around the inside. As soon as I'm done with that, I think we'll go ahead and move on, just for time's sake. But I encourage you to keep working on your wreath even after we're done here today. I definitely need to fill in some spaces here where there's white. But that is my wreath. And the only other thing I have to do is I'm going to take some ribbon. You can use fall colors to go along with it, a red, yellow, or orange. I like green. I think green looks really pretty with orange and other fall colors. So I'm going to use green. It doesn't have to be too long. Maybe about this length. I'm just going to loop it through the center of my wreath, just like so. I'm going to tie a little knot at the top. Make sure there's a loop so that I can hang it. I think 2 overhand knots will do it. McGuigan doesn't want to work with me. There we go. I'm just going to cut that excess off. And we'll hang it just around this loop. So that is my fun fall wreath with my faux fall leaves and my real mini pine cones. I think maybe later I'll add some more mini pine cones. I got a lot left. But that's my wreath. Yay! And I think I'll share that with my family as well. So that could be part of my Take Action. Teaching them how to make a wreath, sharing how to do it, sharing the one that I made. Okay, let me get my glue gun out of the way here, because next we are going to be making pumpkin dip. So I don't know about you guys, but I am a big fan of anything pumpkin. Oh, someone says you could curl the extra ribbon ends. That is also a lovely idea. And we have to do another ribbon now. Okay, so next is our fall dip, which I'm super excited for. I love anything pumpkin. It is a pumpkin dip. You will need 8 ounces of cream cheese softened. So one of these blocks of cream cheese, you can see down in the corner here how many ounces it is. So it should say 8 ounces. And I've let this sit out for a little while so that it is softened and it will mix in easily. So you'll need 8 ounces of cream cheese. You will need 3/4 of a cup canned pumpkin. So I have my measuring cups here. And I have canned pumpkin. Mine's just pure pumpkin, the kind you would use for making pumpkin pie. So I've already opened that. Make sure if you're opening a can, you have a parent's help. You will need 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. So I have my brown sugar here and my 1/4 cup. And you will need 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, which I happen to have because we make pumpkin pies for Thanksgiving. But I think it's only 1/2 teaspoon, which is only this much. So if you don't happen to have pumpkin pie spice, I think you'll be okay without it. And then the only other thing is the same amount, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So we'll go through that all again as we make it, but that is what you will need. And then you'll also need, I have a hand mixer. You could mix it by hand, with just a spoon, but it might be a little difficult with the cream cheese. Or if you have one of those fancy stand mixers, that would work well too. So I'm going to plug this guy in. And I always say to put the beaters in before you plug it in, because I've learned it the hard way if you don't do it that way and they start going off while you're putting them in. So let me plug this guy in. Again, make sure you have a parent's help or a parent's permission when you're working with cooking tools. But this one is nice because it's no bake. We don't have to put it in the oven or anything. Okay, so in my bowl, I'm going to start with my cream cheese. I'm going to grab my scissors here to open it up. And again, make sure it's nice and softened so it's not too hard to mix. That in my medium-sized bowl. And then I believe I also put in the pumpkin. Okay, I need the pumpkin and the cream cheese and beat on medium speed until completely combined. So I need 3/4 a cup of canned pumpkin. So my measuring cup has lines in it. This is a 1 cup, but it also has lines in it for 3/4. So I'm going to measure to the 3/4 cup. And as much as I love pumpkin and pumpkin flavor, the smell of pure pumpkin is not my favorite. You guys have a favorite pumpkin dish? Let me know in the comments. Do you like pumpkin pie? For our adults that are joining us, do you like pumpkin coffee? I've made pumpkin pasties before, which are little like mini pumpkin pies. Okay, so that looks about 3/4 of a cup to me. So I'm going to scoop that in with my cream cheese, and it says to beat that first until it's nice and creamy. So it might get a little loud as I turn the beaters on. So if you want, this is your warning to turn your volume off if you don't want to hear how loud it is. But we're just going to give that a nice little mix on medium speed. And another note, one more thing before I forget, make sure your pumpkin is room temperature. You don't want it to be having been in the fridge and been cold. So make sure it's room temperature. Now we can mix. Alrighty, so that actually mixed together pretty easily with my room temperature cream cheese. So if you're having trouble getting it to all mixed together, you might want to let your cream cheese sit out a little longer. I think mine's been sitting out for about 2 hours. Someone says their favorite pumpkin dish is pumpkin pie. I agree, I love it. I love mine with a ton of whipped cream. Okay, so what do I need next? Add the brown sugar, pumpkin pie spice, and cinnamon, and beat again until smooth. Okay, so I need 1/4 cup of my brown sugar. I'm getting pumpkin dip on my sweater. And it wants it to be tightly packed. So that means that when you put your brown sugar in your measuring cup, you want to pack it real tight. Most things when you measure them, you want to just smooth it off. But with brown sugar, you should pack it nice and tight to the top of your measuring cup. And then dump it out. And if you packed it nice and tight, it should keep the shape of your measuring cup, which I always find really funny. Okay, so next I will need 1/2 teaspoon of that pumpkin pie spice. Oh man, I better take my sweater off. I'm getting everything on it. And my 1/2 teaspoon measuring spoon. And again, if you don't have pumpkin pie spice, I'm sure you'll be okay without it. I don't know exactly what's in pumpkin pie spice, if it's like a mix of other spices. I'm sure probably like nutmeg and cloves and that kind of thing. Nice and easy. Might want to do this over my other measuring cup so I don't actually put too much in there. And this is just to add some flavor. So again, I don't think it has to be perfect like you would if you were baking it. Okay, so that's 1/2 teaspoon there. And then it wants 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So make sure it's not cinnamon sugar, it should be ground cinnamon. The real potent stuff. Scrape it off and pop it in there. And that's all our ingredients. A super simple recipe. But if you put a lot of love into it, I'm sure people will appreciate it, especially if they love pumpkin like me. So I'm going to mush that in a little bit before I start mixing it because I don't want the powder to go flying everywhere. I've learned that the hard way too. Okay, so I'm going to mix it again. Okay, got that mixed together nicely. So now that I've done that, it says to cover tightly and chill at least 30 minutes before serving, and that leftovers stay fresh, covered in the refrigerator up to 5 days. So if you want to use it for the weekend, if you're having anyone over. So I have this cute little dish that I want to put it in. I'm just going to use my measuring spoon to put it in there. And I definitely want to put it in the fridge so it gets kind of the consistency that I'm looking for. But I do want to taste it before I do that. Let's put this in here. Make it look nice for when I give it to my family. Okay. I have this nice little dish of pumpkin dip. And I will cover it in the fridge, probably overnight, but I want to try it. So there's a bunch of different things that you can dip in your pumpkin dip. I'm going to use graham crackers, but they said you can do wafers, gingerbread cookies. The world is your oyster. Whatever you like. I think the little, they're like little bears. I'm blanking on what they're called. Those would be good in this, I think. Someone's asking for the wreath, how long you need your ribbon to be. Maybe like this long, maybe like your arm length here to here, I'd say, would be a good measurement. I always say make it longer because you can always cut it shorter. It's a lot harder to make it longer after you cut it. Smells good. It's very good. If you're a pumpkin lover, this is very good. Okay, so I'm going to toss that in the fridge. Cover it first so it gets a little bit of a thicker consistency because the cream cheese was softened. It's a little bit more runny. We get all of this out of the way and we will wrap up. So we've done our, we're coming along with this. So we've done our Discover. We've learned a little bit about fall. I encourage you to do more research if you love fall like I do. Learn a little bit more about the fun things that come along with it. We did, Teddy Grahams. That is what they're called. I think it would be good to dip Teddy Grahams in our pumpkin dip. Thank you. Okay, so we did our Discover. We did our Connect, which was our wreath, and our leaf prints. Again, I encourage you to make more crafts out of those leaf prints. Maybe you even include them on your wreath. You make fall decor with them. So many options. And then we did our Take Action, which is to make our pumpkin dip, but also to share it with someone else. So we're kind of getting other people excited about fall, which they can spread on. I also encourage you for your Take Action to teach others how to make the wreath, how to make the leaf prints, and just do some fun fall things together. But with that, you guys have earned your fall fun patch. I believe we have it online also as fall festivities. Fall fun, fall festivities. Either way, you guys have earned your patch. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining me. This was one of my favorites. I really love fall. I love anything pumpkin. So again, Thank you guys for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments. You can order your patches online. We'll also link that in the comments as to where you can order your patches. But other than that, have a lovely rest of your day or evening. Bye, guys.